Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to be casting this game. It's the championship game, I believe, between MMA Slayers and we'll call this guy IMLosirA. And I believe this was a championship game. It was, I believe, best of 7, and this was, I think, game 5. Which will show you the winner of the match. And this was a really good game. Kind of slightly puzzling ending. Not really sure why. Uh, Someone, I won't give it away, taps out when they do, but maybe you can explain it to me if you're watching this and tell me why it was truly game over. But anyway, I had fun watching MMA get interviewed after this tournament. He said that he had come over to America from Korea, his first plane ride ever. That is quite a long trip. Not sure he enjoyed it too much, and then the poor guy got sick while he was here from the food and the indigestion from just trying to adjust to a different culture. And it was kind of funny. He said he tried some American food. He tried a hamburger, and he tried pulled pork, and then he also had some American sesame chicken. Well, it was, Asian sesame chicken, but whatever. But anyway, he said his favorite food that he had tried was the Chinese food. So I guess he wasn't a big fan of American cuisine. But anyway, go ahead and show you a little bit of the early game. You see a supply depot here, and you also see another supply depot here. And he was building a barracks right there. So that was a very interesting decision. If anybody has any knowledge as to why you would ever want to do those things, let me know. But obviously MMA knows what he's doing. Crazy good player, and throughout this whole game he shows just astounding micro skills. This Reaper is doing ridiculously well, and then he has a friend who comes, and they give the Zerg player something to think about. And that's all you really need to do. And throughout this whole game, I think one of the keys to MMA success was just the psychological warfare. I mean, he has, well, I won't give it away, but constantly you will be seeing things that he does that will upset, that will just make the other player react and force him to think, and be frustrating to him. We see the Zerg player getting a little extra scouting by this trick where you build a extractor and you can cancel it and rebuild it until the cows come home. But eventually he decides to go ahead and let it die. Feels like he has enough knowledge and spends the 25 minerals to build the extractor. Both players building normal builds, some Banalines, some Zerglings. Look at the army tab, and we'll see right now Terran player is about twice the army of the Zerg player. But it always strikes me that you need a bigger army as Terran to deal with Zerg. Just personal opinion. But you can never defeat Zerg on equal army sizes unless your micro is better, a lot better. That's what I think, at least. I mean, here, look, you've got, okay, now it's a little bit closer, but the Terran player still has a bigger army, more advanced units, tank up here. Yet, guess what's going to happen? I mean, the Zerg player just dominates this entire battle. In fact, at this point, it almost looked like game over. There's just one tank left. That's it. The Terran player's army got decimated. That's just ridiculous in my opinion. I think Serga's overpowered. And IMLosirA here, he is doing a couple banelings here. I thought he was going to break down the store. And honestly, if he had pulled his Zerglings out and if he had just ran his banelings in there, I wonder if he would have won the game, basically. But the siege tank, now there's two of them. See that they would one-shot the banelings. So it's being likely that any of the banelings would be able to get through that door. So basically, it's strange because MMA basically rebuilds exactly what he had before. I guess the only difference is these are now siege tanks, so all those little Zerglings, if they came in here again, which I believe they do, we'll have a little bit harder time. So here's the beginning of the psychological warfare. I mean, he only has like 6 Marines. Throughout the whole game, you'll see, well, again, I keep almost giving things away, but apparently, you know, you really don't need that many Marines to do a ton of damage, especially if you constantly pick them up. If you constantly pick them up, these ground forces can't do anything about it. It is so funny to watch the ground forces continually not be able to kill these 6 Marines, and they constantly get healed. MMA is still good at these medvacs. He will just let them get a little. He'll let the troops get a little injured, and then he'll pick them up and he'll heal them. He'll drop them somewhere safe and he'll heal them, and then he'll bring them right back to where they were before. It's one of the things that I kind of love and hate about Metropolis. It's just so hard to go directly to the other person's base without running into all kinds of ranged cliff stuff over this ledge that will shoot down at you as you try to run by this this road. Kind of annoying. You have to go all the way around the map to get to the other person's base without getting pounded by siege tanks, basically. So here's medvac number 1, here's medvac number 2, and look, there's only 5 Marines. He doesn't even bother filling it all the way up. But I tell you, this one little medvac and the other little medvac, the two of them together, they basically are going to harass just the snot out of IMLosirA until I think he just gets too psychologically frustrated to continue playing this game. And I almost think it's like you don't even have to win the game. You just have to bug your opponent so much that they quit. And this is the championship game. And again, I'm kind of giving stuff away, but just such a good lesson for me to learn as I'm trying to learn to play StarCraft myself. It's just, you know, you don't need the bigger army, you just need the better positioning and the wiser strategy. I mean, he drops off. Okay, I'll sacrifice a couple Marines just to get in his head. I mean, I don't know why you would do that. And here's the other medvac just hanging out. I mean, this between this guy and this guy, they basically are going to bug IMLosirA into submission. Amazing. Here's Viking on patrol. Here is the Zerg pulling in his overlords because he's sick of these medvac drops who will drop by an overlord and pick them off. It's getting rid of all the scouting. And again, oh, it looked like, you know, this huge army might kill a troop. Nope. No, it didn't kill any troops. In fact, you can drop them off, and the medvac will look over this cliff, and if any of these lings come over here to the top edge, then they can get shot at because of the medvac's vision, and then vice versa. If the lings come down here, you can just pick them up and stick them back on top. Oh, sure, he could split his army half and half on both sides, but then I'm sure MMA would just come over here to the other side, do the same exact thing. Psychological warfare. Amazing. And what is also amazing to me is that this isn't all that he's doing. He is doing all kinds of macro at the same time. If you look at the production tab, look at all this stuff that he's throwing down, upgrading, producing troops. I just like watching it from his camera perspective because it's amazing that he can do all these things at the same time. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just hop around the screen and do some amazing micro at two different places. You know, he only has 3 Marines in that medvac. I mean, it's a miracle to me. This is like David versus Goliath. There's like 5 Terran units this entire game, occupying the full attention of the Zerg player, who is just wondering, what am I going to do about these drops that are happening all over the place with like 3 troops. I almost think you'd be better off with, throwing down the spine crawler once in a while and just forgetting about it. So here comes a nice push from MMA, and this this happens to me all the time when I play. Look at my massive, awesome army. I've got so many neat siege tanks, and surely nothing can defeat them. And then about 400 supply of links come along, and you have no more tanks left. So it makes me feel a lot better about that when championship professional gamer MMA does the same exact thing. But apparently I just think siege tanks are better for defense when you place them on a ledge. When you try to attack with them like this, it's just pointless. I don't even know what the point is. I mean, you might as well just make marauders, because at least marauders won't shoot each other, and so I just don't see the benefit of the siege tank, quite frankly. Siege tanks can absorb some of the Banaline, attack, but it's really not that big of an advantage, in my opinion. So you still have this medvac here. Oh look, he actually is out of Marines, and there's 1 Mutalisk, but don't worry, he's got a backup, and it's all going to start all over again. These crazy drops. You'd think the Mutas would be a great answer for these drops, but here's the Mutas. As you can see, it looks like they're doing pretty well. But Mutas are so fragile. They're so fast. They're so good against SCVs, but they're so weak. And you'll see just, flying into a couple turrets by accident, and they're all greatly damaged. Unless, of course, you have enough of them to take out the turrets. And I felt like he was close. I think he was maybe going in the right direction with these, because that's what you want to do. But I felt like maybe he could have upgraded them, or maybe could have made a few more of them. I mean, these aren't that many Marines he's running away from. It's a good amount, for sure, but it's close. And if they're a little bit more upgraded, maybe. Supposedly Mutas are strong against Marines if the numbers are fairly even. He came over here to try to find this guy. Psychological warfare. He's MMA is just in his head, because he's so good at dropping and retreating and dropping and retreating, and he doesn't need a lot of troops. I always feel like I need like 2 medvacs to have a good drop, and I always feel like if I retreat, I fail. But the fact of the matter is that MMA, all he's doing is little jabs. If this was a boxing match, I mean, here's the knockout punch right here. But because he's getting jabbed silly, He's just unable to keep up with these constant hit and retreats, and finally he does put up the spine crawler here, but I think MMA spotted it, and so look, he's just taking a different angle. That's a problem with like just splitting up your army too, and look, it's some more overlords here, easy picking, or we could go for the probes, but his goal is not to win the game by these little drops. His goal is just to annoy and harass. I mean, it's like if you play the cooperative computer against the computer almost. It's like, yeah, you just continually harass, and eventually the computer will lose the game, even though the computer may have a larger army. Doesn't really matter. Not sure what MMA is looking at. Doesn't seem like he's paying much attention. Aha! He's paying attention to this, and actually this is basically the end of the game, right here. And first time I watched this, I was so confused. I was like, all these banelines got into his main. Why didn't they just take out all of his unit producing structures? And he actually ends up pulling them back to try to defend because he's so afraid of this push. And it's bizarre to me because he kind of runs by the siege tanks without really trying to take them out. And he does have all these Marines. I think he was trying to get to the Marines, but you can't just run by the siege tanks. I think he actually GG's here, and the reason why, I think, was he was just so frustrated that he couldn't get by. He lost all his banelines. He couldn't get by this line of siege tanks. He wanted to get by them. He would have been better off going through them instead of going by them. I don't really know why he did that, but I think he was just trying to get to the Marines, since the banelines are really for that purpose. But what confused me is if you look at the income tab, Zerg is winning the game right now. Actually, this gold expo got taken out by the banelines. This natural expo got taken out by the banelines. So there were very few harvesters, only 18. And it's true. I mean, he had so many orbital commands. He could be calling down mules, but all in all, I believe this was the championship game in the recent MLG Columbus, Ohio championship. So congratulations to MMA, and I hope he had a good trip to America, and hope he wants to come back. He definitely he only lost 2 matches the entire tournament, so I think he was going to win with that record. But one of the games he did lose to was to IMLosirA. So congratulations to everyone. What great gamers, and hope you guys enjoyed the game and learned something from it. Until next time, goodbye.